Camera speed, you good? All right, thank you.
Good. All right. Game week is finally here. Our guys are definitely excited. I'm having to remind them we still have several days to get ready, and we don't need to peak until 4 o'clock on Saturday. But we're all excited. I'm also excited to see our fans, and it's just been a lot of energy here over the last month. Speaking to a lot of our alumni, a lot of our boosters and fans. I know we're going to have a great crowd at Ray J. Also seeing so many of our students. We had the green and gold ball drop in the Marshall Center last week. We had the freshman pep rally on Friday, over 1,000 freshmen there. And then last night I got a chance to talk to our band, and they're ready to go. So really looking forward to a great atmosphere at Ray J at 4 o'clock on Saturday. Taking on a very talented team. The more you dive in and really study BYU, I mean, this is probably one of their best teams they've had the last 5 or 6 years. I mean, they've got 19 returning starters with a lot of experience coming back on a team that won 10 games last year. And Coach Satake's doing a great job with his team and football program. They're ranked preseason in the top 25. So I think that tells you what everybody thinks about them. To me, it starts with their quarterback. Jaron Hall, is a 5th-year senior, a really talented player. He's going to be a draftable quarterback after this season. Throws the ball extremely well, runs very well. He's a guy that you really have to account for with both his arm and his legs. The next thing that stands out is their wide receiver core, really explosive at the wide receiver position. They like to throw the ball downfield. They like to take their shots. They've done a good job with that. Very strong and athletic with their offensive line. Their left tackle's a top draft pick. I believe he's about 6'7", 6'8", 340 pounds. One of the best tackles in the country, and a lot of experience coming back there. And then they added a very talented running back in Chris Brooks from Cal, 235-pound running back. He had a great year last year at Cal. Very explosive player, powerful guy. So they're definitely in good position there. Defensively, again, a lot of starters, guys that have played a lot of ball together. Very disruptive up front with their defensive line. Really good speed at linebacker and in the secondary. On paper and looking what they have coming back, they've got a very complete team. So a huge challenge for us, but like we talked about, with challenges come opportunities. And for us to be able to kind of see where we are this year with this team, it's going to be a great kind of measuring stick to see where we are versus a top 25 team in the first game. So excited to see our guys get out there and compete. And I know they'll be ready. Again, the off-season, winter, spring, summer workouts, fall camp has been the best that it's been since I've been here. So I have no doubt in my mind that we're better. Now how much better and how that measures up against a very talented top 25 BYU team coming in, we'll find out on Saturday. So, I think, for us, it's really about using these next 3 days to kind of hone in and really take ownership of our game plan. I think our coordinators have done a good job. Our game plan is in. Our game plan was done yesterday. So really it's just, getting a lot of repetitions and different looks. I think that's one of the challenges for everybody in opening games is you're going off a video from last year. Well, there's a lot of things that change, right? You get different personnel. They added a couple of different pieces out of the transfer portal just like we did, and how they want to use them and what positions, and maybe an off-season study by their coaches, just like we've changed some things in the off-season. You don't really know till you get out there, and I think the first quarter and your season openers are really important to kind of figure out exactly what their plan is, and for us to be able to go out and execute our plan. So looking forward to it, and we'll use these last few days to get ready. With that, I'll open up for any questions.
Coach, when you play Brigham Young, it's a unique challenge because with their missionary year or two, you're dealing with NFL-age players there. How much of a problem is that?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt they've got guys older than some of our guys. I think for us, if there's been ever any years where you have some guys that are getting up there in age, it would be this year because of the COVID, the super senior, with a lot of our guys that come back in their 5th and 6th year. But, at the end of the day, I don't think that really plays into it a whole lot. They have a very, unique model that kind of works with them and their mission and everything that they do. and I fully respect that. But at the end of the day, when that ball's put on that tee and they kick the ball off, I don't really see that having a tremendous impact one way or the other.
Coach,
Jeff, what would you like to, obviously you won't win the game, but what would you like to see out of Gary and your team? What are some of the things you're going to be looking for
Yeah.
in the first game?
Yeah, well, first thing we talk about is I want to see what our best looks like, whatever that is. Each year, your best may be different. I want to see what our best looks like on offense, defense, and special teams. That's really the standard. Obviously we want to win the game, but you can't focus on winning the game, right? You have to focus on internally how you do what you do and working to do everything at the best version that we can do it. So that would be number one. And then maybe more specifically, I'd love to see Gary. It's going to be his first time on the field, with this offense and with this team. And I want to see him doing a great job of really driving the car and really kind of moving that offense and directing traffic and all the things that go on in a game where you've got to help guys get lined up. You've got to be able to make the calls and adjust to blitzes. And so really just being a communicator, being the leader on game day like he's been in practice and in the meeting rooms, and then just playing within himself. That's really what I'm looking for from him. And then defensively, I want to see us obviously play well, execute our game plan. But some things from last year to this year, we got to be able to eliminate the big plays. I mean, you go back and look at this game last year, and it got away from us really quickly in the first quarter because it was 3 big plays, and all of a sudden it's 21-0. And then from that point on, we played well. But when you give someone that big of a start, it's really difficult. So really eliminating the big plays, and then I want to see us get better pressure on the quarterback, and I want to see our defensive linebackers really creating pressure, on their offense, something that we really haven't done my first 2 years.
John, as you start the season with Gary in charge, with his level of experience, how would you describe your level of confidence in having a guy like that to run your offense?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously quarterback is one of the most pivotal positions, and then having someone, I definitely would say going into it's the first year since I've been here where I really felt like we had a veteran guy that's been through some major battles and also been successful on big stages. Is he going to be perfect? No, he's not. There's not many of those guys out there, but can he play to the standard we need him to play to for us to be able to win? I believe he can do that. But yeah, there's no doubt. That's a box that's been checked, but now he's got to go out and do it. It's a new year and it's a new team and obviously a first game, but I'm definitely confident in Gary, moving forward going into the season.
Jeff, when's the last time you've been around a team this season, just in terms of career starts? You, in that perspective, you've got a very, very seasoned team.
Yeah, it's hard to go back and in these last 3 years, I can't even remember anything past that right now. I would say that it is unique. And so the positive is we've got a lot of guys coming back. The other side of it is everybody else does too, right? I mean, there's a lot more older, mature guys at all these teams. I mean, you obviously take BYU, because they're already older. Well, now those guys can come back for another year, and the teams we played the next couple of weeks will be the same way. But yeah, there's definitely a maturity, I think, that comes with that. I think it's probably more important for people that are in our situation going into the 3rd year of really kind of changing a culture, changing the standards of how we do things, to really have that senior group last year be able to come back for another year, because not only are they doing that, but they're modeling, those behaviors and actions to the guys below. So there's no doubt it's a good position to be in. But we're not the only ones with the older guys. Everybody, this year is going to be able to enjoy that really for the next couple of years.
Jeff, adding to the mix of the experience that comes back with returning players, you have the 15 transfers out of the portal. What impact have they shown you early on so far before these games get underway?
I think the good thing about that is the majority of them are really outside of Gary and maybe Chris Matillo, but the majority of them came in January. So really they've been here for 8 complete months. And so the good news is, you brought that up, I don't even think about them being transfers anymore because they went through our winter workouts, they went through spring ball, they went through summer workouts, they went through fall camp, and so in this new age of where we are, I mean, that's about as long as anybody's together, going into a season. So I think the good news is it probably feels normal. It doesn't feel like it's some big deal going into the first game because all those guys, the majority of those guys have been here since January. But I think the biggest thing for us, I feel like we've added depth and we've added some length and some talent at certain positions. And it's the first time, since the 3 years that I've been here, going into the third year, where I feel like we have the depth that you need to go into a season to be able to compete. And hopefully we're going to see that depth and these guys, lead to some victories for us this fall.
Jeff, how's everything on the health front to that extent? How's Kelly's recovery coming along?
Yeah, Kelly's doing well. He's out there. He's still, has a cast and all that. He's got a few more weeks to go. But overall, I feel like we're pretty healthy as a team. We kind of slowed it down last week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Really just kind of doing walkthroughs and not really anything full speed, so that the guys would show up on Monday really, full speed, feeling good. Coming out of fall camp, everybody's dealing with hamstrings and growings and shoulders and all these kind of things. And so I think the 3 days that we got, gave them off, really put guys in a good spot. So I think considering coming out of a fall camp, I feel like we're in a really good position from a health perspective. Obviously, got 2 more days to go here before Saturday.
Coach, when you looked at week 0 in the NCAA, especially in the South, what really jumped out at you was the inclement weather issues. I know you can't control that, but you can prepare for it. A lot of wet ball drills this week?
Yeah, that's a very strong observation. That was probably my number one observation from week 0 was the rain and wet balls. We do work wet balls and inside and some Pascal and some different things. But it kind of reminded me actually of going back years ago. I think it was 2015 at Clemson. We're getting ready to play Notre Dame, and they've got this monsoon coming just short of a hurricane. And all of a sudden on Wednesday, I started panicking as one of the offensive coordinators and wideout coach, because our players hadn't really practiced in the rain in the last 4 years because we had a new indoor facility. And so really I was kind of thinking about that this past weekend. Not because our indoor is quite ready yet, but in the mornings we really don't get rain. It's all in the afternoons. And so really the things you think about are using the wet ball during practice, and then also having a plan for the lightning delay. And we spent some time this week really kind of, since we have new coordinators, and kind of fine tuning what that looks like if we have to go inside with a lightning delay, what exactly we're going to do minute by minute to make sure that we use that time to the best. So yeah, there's no doubt that's part of it, but ultimately big picture, the message to our guys is, external factors cannot have, any impact. I mean, you don't see a game with rain and all of a sudden some team win that's not supposed to win. At the end of the day, as long as it's raining on both sides, the best team's going to win, and you've got to be able to mentally and physically be able to work through, any of those external factors.
Jeff, with as much as going on in the program, you're going to open indoor, you're working toward a stadium, you want to be upwardly mobile in this ever-changing atmosphere, and you have this opportunity. How important is it to win? I know you want to win every game, but just from a perception, confidence standpoint, if you can do this on Saturday, how big would it be?
Absolutely, it's very important. I mean, obviously, we want to win every game that we have. We always talk about, your next game's the biggest game of the year, and there's no doubt, this is for us going into the season. It's the next game is the biggest game of the year, and I think, for us, you look at 4 of the teams that are moving up into the Big 12. We play all 4 of them this year. So we're going to get an opportunity to see how we match up against them. And we want to make sure that when people look at the landscape of college football, and the next time there's a chance for a realignment, we want them to look at South Florida and say, hey, those guys can compete, and those guys deserve to move up. And there's a lot of factors that go into that, but probably the number one factor is you're winning on the field. And so there's no doubt that's important. I think, it's not something we spend a lot of time thinking about. Those are things that maybe you talk about at the beginning of fall camp and kind of talking big picture. Now everything is about the process that's required to win. But there's no doubt, if we're fortunate to play well enough to earn a victory Saturday, that'll be a big moment for kind of our process in our journey this season.
You guys have gotten a chance to study BYU over the last 2 seasons. What necessarily can you take away, not from their on-field play, but maybe some of the stuff from they do off the field? Coach Sataki, obviously they have a unique way of doing things.
Yeah, well, I would say, I know our people hear me talk about this word all the time, but culture. I mean, they've got an incredible culture there at BYU, and Coach Sataki does an exceptional job. And and again, I think he's going into maybe year 5 or year 6 as the head coach, right? And you're seeing that, right? You're seeing that consistency, and now last year and this year going into his best seasons. And so I think the biggest thing that you see a team that's disciplined. Very rarely do you see guys, going the wrong direction. I mean, they're not giving up cheap plays. They know their scheme defensively, offensively. They know what they do, and their players, play it very well. They play together. There's a oneness, very similar to how we won at Clemson with the culture that we had. When you played one of us, you play all of us, and that's what you see when you turn on the video watching BYU. I mean, these guys play very, very well together, and they have a lot of confidence, and that comes from their success that they've had in the past.
They specifically wanted to ask about Joe and how he's worked out and what your expectations are.
Yeah, Joe is one of those guys that's taken a big step from where he was in spring practice to where he is now. I felt like in the spring it was a little slower for him than probably he wanted than I wanted to kind of see him be able to elevate himself into being a major factor for us. But I think through his work this summer and really getting in the playbook and studying the playbook and all the things he needs to do there and just working on his body, he's lost some weight. He looks really good. And, he's been one of the most consistent players for us throughout fall camp. And I fully expect that to translate into Saturday. I think he's going to get plenty of opportunities, and I think that's a really good 1-2 punch there with him and Xavier Weaver at one of our most critical positions with the wideouts.
Where are you anticipating to see the biggest improvement with this team this year?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to give one specific area. I want to see the biggest improvement of how we finish games, right? And obviously, people that follow us closely, last year there were a number of games that we were right there through 3 quarters. We were in position to really to win the game. It was right there, and we didn't get it done. And it wasn't just one side of the ball or one group or one mistake. It was a combination of things. And I think for me, it's a mindset of how you finish. And that's been a big focus for us, throughout the off season. We got to be at our best right there in the fourth quarter and be able to close out. When you're playing good teams like we're going to play Saturday, I mean, these games are going to come down to who plays consistently, for 4 quarters. Go back to watching last week 0, right? And I think Northwestern was down 11 points, late in the 3rd quarter, halfway through the 3rd quarter, right? But they stay consistent and continue to believe, continue to execute, stay with the process, and then they're able to come out, with the victory. And so I think that's the area that we haven't done a great job of. We've had games where we popped out with good energy early on, and we've had games where we're maybe slow at the beginning. But to be able to play for 4 quarters, that's the biggest thing that I'm looking to see out of this team.
Don't onside kick up 11, right?
Oh man, all right. Yeah, I mean,
That's got to be painful as a coach
Yeah.
to watch somebody have to sit up there and actually say, okay, we did it.
yeah, well, I think
It doesn't work.
the biggest thing when, I've coached 20 years and been on the sidelines for 15 years before that. There's a lot of things that happen. There are things that, on Wednesday night look really good, and then you get in the game on Saturday and maybe they're not what you want them to be. So, that's part of it. Those are difficult. It's kind of like trick plays. When they work, you're the hero. When they don't, it's like, why in the world did they do that? That's kind of how those go. But I think at the end of the day, it's about, having your plan and being confident in your plan and letting the guys go out and execute that. And you can't play scared. We're going to be aggressive. I think one change for us this year is we really kind of got locked in on the analytics and really using that as an added resource. I think if you look over the last 2 or 3 years in college and NFL, you're seeing a lot more people going for it on 4th down at the right time. And so that's something that we've really studied. And again, we're not going to let the book make the final decisions for us. At the end of the day, I got to make the final decisions, but having that added resource, I think is something that could help us, in these games this season.
When you
Talk
have two
about
new
analytics.
coordinators, I'm sorry.
Okay.
When you have 2 new coordinators, is there any bit of a learning curve as you get into game day, just communication, working, getting plays in, all that?
And we spent time doing as best we can with that. When we had the kind of mock game on Saturday at Ray J and put the coordinators up in the box, away from, and did it exactly like how they're going to call plays down to the sidelines and how the, Coach Sims would be the one kind of giving the play in the huddle to the defense going on the field, and Coach Bentley, to the offense. And so there's definitely, that's a lot of the things really that we've been meeting on as coaches and communicating to our players. just making sure we don't take any of that for granted. And you know, again, the fact that both of them have been here, you know, since January, I think is you know, makes us feel confident going into this game.
Talk about analytics. How much do you look at the statistics, you know, over the last year and where you're trying to improve with the team? You look just at the passing game alone and just 6 touchdown passes last year. Is that an area that has to see a drastic improvement?
Yeah, I think you know, we always do that at the end of the season. You know, you really kind of take that December, January, February time to kind of self-evaluate where you are and areas you need to make improvements. And you know, there's definitely a lot of those areas, and absolutely passing game, passing touchdowns. I mean, this age of college football, you know, you can't just you know, survive just on, you know, running the ball 3 and 4 yards every time. You got to mix in some explosive plays down the field, and I'm excited to watch Gary and these wideouts be able to do that. And then that's really just going to open up, you know, the running game more. When you don't have the explosiveness in your passing game, it makes it very difficult, you know, for that offensive line, tight ends, and running backs.
I don't want to belabor this point, Jeff, but this is an incredible opportunity for you guys. I don't know if you like the term statement game or springboard game, but it just seems like that's what this is this Saturday for this program.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt. I mean, I think kind of the word that I've been using with our team is we're going to have several opportunities this year kind of for those breakthrough moments, you know, and just for our program to really take that next step. You know, we've got to be able to go out and have success versus good teams like BYU. There's going to be several others on our schedule. We'll have some more opportunities, but this is a really big one, and I think to start off the season, if we're able to go out and play well and earn a victory, you know, it's not really about our guys, I think, proving to our fans or anybody. It's really just the confidence that comes from, you know, being able to go out and have success versus a very good team. And then, you know, I've just seen that in my previous stop. The confidence that comes with that, man, really becomes contagious for your guys moving throughout the rest of the year. So there's no doubt. I mean, I'd much rather be playing a game like this than maybe one that you're, you know, favored heavily or something like that. I mean, I think it's made the off season and fall camp, you know, really intense. Our guys have been very focused because they know how big of an opportunity we have here Saturday.
Coach, it's hard to explain to someone who hasn't been on the sideline what goes on between the 25-yard lines during a game. On a scale of 1 to 10, what's the chaos that's going on down there? Is it probably a 12 or 13?
Yeah, I think the best thing is you want to kind of be like the duck, right? You want to be able to keep a cool, calm head and be able to eliminate the clutter. But under the water, yeah, there's a lot of things going on. It's probably a good thing that the audio from the headsets is not turned over to the public or even to the team after the game. I mean, but you know, that's all part of it. I mean, I tell our guys all the time, it's not just the plays on the field. You're competing when you're on the sidelines with your communication and how we get things corrected. If there's a mistake, how do we get that communicated to the players so that we go out and we're not, you know, correcting that on Sunday. We can correct it, you know, during the game. But no, that's part of it, and that's part of, you know, what practice and all these things is. You know, you're constantly communicating with the players and the coaches with each other. And but you got to jump out there and do it. There's only so many mock practices and scrimmages. You know, you got to go kick that ball off and go play. So looking forward to that.
With all the work you guys have put in the offseason, are you sensing that these guys know it's game week? They're just kind of bouncing off the wall.
Oh yeah,
ready for this thing?
yeah. I'm definitely having to tell them, whoa, not sick them this week. I mean, there's definitely the guys are ready to go play right now. I mean, Coach Shoop's made the statement that if we were kicking the ball off this afternoon, our defense would be ready to go out and play. You know, luckily for us, you know, we've got a couple more days to kind of fine tune and get everything there. But I think the important thing, everybody's excited to start the season. I mean, that's the number one word everybody's going to use, and that's the number one description. But the most excited team's not going to win on Saturday, right? It's the team that can execute the best for 4 quarters, and that comes from practice. So we got to turn that energy and excitement into focus and intensity in practice, into executing, so that when we get a chance, you know, in the games, we can go be at our best.
How are you feeling, Jeff?
I'm feeling good.
Are you anxious to get going?
I'm confident. I'm excited. I think, you know, right now it's still Tuesday. As coaches, you kind of have, you know, mentally kind of how you prepare. We still got, you know, work to do, and we're still, even though we have the game plan in, we're refining things and doing all the things to get ready for the first game. But I'm confident. I'm excited to watch these guys play. Just all the hard work that they put in, and it's not going to be perfect. It never is. But it's the teams that can go out and find ways to respond anytime that there's adversity, and be able to stay focused anytime that there's success, right? We talk about being a one-play warrior. It's just that one-play mindset. You know, what happened the last play, good or bad, you know, that's behind us. Control what you can control, right? It's always about what's in front of us. So really kind of having that mindset for our guys, I think that's kind of where I've seen the most maturity in this group in the offseason, and I'm excited to see how that translates to the game field on Saturday.
Coach, are you gonna get a day at Raymond James to walk through or kickers or anything like that?
Well, we did that Saturday. That was kind of our day that we went. We had picture day, and then we really spent about 2 hours kind of doing a mock game and doing a lot of the situations, starting in the locker room and calling the players out according to how it's going to be on game day and the flex and all those things. So we feel confident that we're ready to go there. All right.
Coach.
Thank
Thanks,
y'all.
Jeff.
Appreciate it.